What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn, and you're on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. And today, I thought I'd kind of give a what's up and what's going on in wholesaling, trends I see across the entire country, and most importantly, what's working, what's not working, and how you can use this information to actually become a better wholesaler. Now, these are like one of my favorite types of shows because I'm just going to tell you the way it is, because I'm not a coach. I'm not influenced by who pays me. I just give you real-time data. And keep in mind, it's my opinion. I believe my son agrees with me. Some of you might disagree. So today, if you want, we can even have a healthy debate and we can have fun with this. But I've been doing this business for 23 years. I love to find the trends in wholesaling. And the one thing I always tell you guys is learn to be a marathon wholesaler. Don't be one of these sprinters, because sprinters only adapt to what is going on now. And that usually will get you in huge, huge trouble. So I want to I'm going to address a lot of issues. So we're going to need every minute. So let's just jump into it. So do me a favor, if you're brand new to this channel, give an introduction in the comments. We are a wholesaling channel. I'm not going to teach you how to do crypto. I'm not going to teach you how to do the stock market. I only talk about real estate, specifically wholesaling. It's because what I'm best at. It has done incredible things for my personal life and my family. It has changed the projection of my kids' life. And I'm here to hopefully impact and change you if you've decided to go with wholesaling. So if you're brand new to this, what I want you to do first and foremost is make sure you jump on and you just take our free course, freewholesaling.com. I got some huge surprises coming up in this course. And basically we do it through school, Alex Hormozy. We love Alex, been a long time subscriber of him. And remember, Alex does the same thing we do, is we give it away for free. So it's good enough for Alex. This is one of the main people that me and Zach have followed for a long time, and he gets it and understands it. And we're just bringing it to the wholesaling community. And I get it. Most coaches and stuff won't agree with the way we do it. But keep in mind, it's because it's contrary to their old business model and things have to change. So check us out at freewholesaling.com. It's 100% a free course. I don't have anything to upsell you. We have some links to make you a better wholesaler if you want to take advantage of them, or you can use whoever you want. I don't care. But I don't chase people for testimonials. I don't use it to lure you in to make you pay a coaching fee. And for that reason, I can give you the best version of me and Zach, which we're going to show you the truth on how this works. Wholesaling is easy, but you have to do really hard work to get there. And if you're one of the select few that actually take the information and run with it, we have an avenue where you can work with us through sellmypaper.com, and we do JV partners. I got 7 deals going on right now, and we definitely need some more deals coming in. So you can take advantage of that, even if you have no experience. Go over there, sellmypaper.com, and jump on that. So let me get this off the screen. Let's jump on here, and and let's get going on this. So keep in mind, guys, the whole idea is you guys have to understand is I want you to understand trends in wholesaling. So the problem is usually in the past, when I was much younger and I did wholesaling, I couldn't figure out a trend until really 3 or 4 years after the fact. So now that I've been doing it 23 years, I can easily identify trends very quickly and fast. And one of the benefits of being an old-timer wholesaler back from 2003 is I can tell you what I don't like, which I think is going to hurt the business. And I'm going to tell you what I think is pretty awesome going in the wholesaling. So I'm going to give you both sides of the story. Some of you are going to like it. Some of you are going to hate it. But let's run up with it and let's do it. So by the way, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com, largest school community in all of wholesaling. Also, Wholesaling Houses for Real is now the largest wholesaling Facebook group that's actually active. Yes, it's a full-time job getting rid of the scammers. I recruit you guys to call them all out. But we are making progress with it. It is a pain in the butt. And then the next one is Discord. We have the largest wholesaling Discord group in the entire world. Check out zachdiscord.com. And guys, it just goes on and on and on. We got to be doing something right coming up on year 5. And I get it. I know who hates us. It's not a rocket scientist, but keep in mind, The people that hate you the most are usually the ones that admire you behind the scenes, because it usually means if something's outpacing them, something's working. And the only thing we ever focus on is you, the wholesaler. I don't focus on, oh my God, you got to do direct mail because that's the only thing that works because I own a direct mail company. I don't tell you to concentrate on the X-Lead software. Even though I own an X-Lead software, I don't care which one you use. I want to use one that's going to get you the best deals. I don't own a PPL company. I don't have affiliate links with PPL. We'll talk about that. And then we need to find out what's working. So I want you to use this information and you decipher, you go verify. Don't take Rick's word for it. I've already told you, you take one person's word for it, you're just a sucker. So let's go through it. Let's review it and let's just get into it. Okay, let's go. So here's the question in wholesaling. Is the sky falling? I hear this, oh my God, I don't know if it's coming or going, and I don't understand this argument. Who gives a crap? The sky, what is your definition of the sky falling? And if you guys want to put in the comments and go, okay, Rick, I don't know if the sky's falling or anything. So here's how most people are trying to predict if the sky's falling or we're getting ready to explode. And the thing is, you can't be on both sides of the equation. You have to pick one. And this is where we have to make an educated guess. Now, here's the good thing with wholesaling, guys. If you do wholesaling correctly, wholesaling in its truest form, you mitigate your risk and maximize your reward, regardless of the market. So if you're one of these people that are so worried about, like, are we going to have a recession or not? I already know right off the bat, you watch way too much news. All news is 95% skewed towards one side. And then there's another 5% skewed towards the other side. So you have to look at data and you have to look at information. So is the sky falling? Most people predict if the sky is falling based on the probability of a recession. Guys, please don't put any stock into these numbers. Back in late February, March, the probability of a recession was nearing 70%. 70%. Do you know what they have it right now as of today's date, which is what? Today is May 12th, 2025. So you guys know it's live. It's 5:16 Eastern Standard Time. That's why you guys know I don't fake a live. It just went from 70% to 30%. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, these numbers are so skewed to basically influence your decision on how you're going to purchase, how you're going to like do anything, definitely how you're going to transact in real estate. And the idea is people are sheep. They follow it. They're like, oh, they told me we're going to have a recession. It's ridiculous. If you look at the data across the country, it's actually pretty solid. Now, are there pockets? Yeah, we're going to talk about them. There's specific pockets that horrify me, and there's other stuff that I think is absolutely amazing. So we're going to deep dive into it without getting too in the weeds. We're definitely going to stay out of the politics because I don't give a crap what side you're on. I'm on the side of wholesaling. So you can vote Democrat, Republican. You got to vote wholesaling if you're watching this channel. So everything I'm going to go is towards infiltrating that. So the recession probability, I don't believe any of these numbers because it just went from 70% to 30%. And I guess the stabilizer is if it's 50-50, right? It's ridiculous. A recession is defined by two negative quarters of GDP, which we haven't seen in a while. And honestly, even with the previous administration, it just felt like we're in a recession. I got to tell you, since 2022, it has really felt like a recession. Like nothing's really exploded, but nothing's fallen off the cliff. But as I said, the problem with real estate is the slowest indicator of what trickles down on the economy. It's the last one. So usually the first indicator is going to be the stock market, a little bit of the bond market, and treasury yield. So I'm not going to get into the weeds because now we get into economics. But usually the treasury yield curve is the biggest indicator is if you're going to be in a recession. So without getting into economics, number one, please, for God's sakes, don't listen to any news. It's all completely biased based on how they want to push the agenda. You have to look at data. If you really want to get in the weeds on a recession, look at the yield curve, the treasury yield curve. I don't want to get into an entire lesson because it'd take me the entire hour and a half to do it. And I think we're wasting time on it. But look at that. There's plenty of articles, and you can figure it. To me, that is hard factual data. And it's kind of been trickling all over the place, and I get why they're kind of doing it. But people look at the data, and then they put their own opinion on it. So based if you're watching MSNBC or Fox News or CNN or whatever, I wouldn't watch any of those channels because they are the worst indicator. Go watch a financial channel and like look at some of the data. I like to watch early morning reports just to get a feel what's going on in the market. I make moves a couple of times a month, so you have to be dialed in what's going on with the market. So that being said, we've come to either you have a boom mentality or you got a bust mentality. And how can half the country think we're going to boom and the other half of the country think we're going to fall apart? It makes no sense to me. And I'm not a national economic guy, but like we have to look at the underlying factual information. Now, my expert's not in predicting the market, and I don't want you to use me, but I can expose the data that's going to have the biggest impact on wholesaling. That's what I'm going to try to do today, because I get frustrated with our economy, like the way people spin it, and it pisses me off. I don't know about you, but like one day it's great, the next day it's like, oh, we're doom and gloom. My biggest concern with our economy, I'll be honest with you, all politicians need to figure out is how do we minimize our debt in this country? I mean, our debt levels are ridiculous. What, 33, 35 trillion, I lose track. Till that number starts to go down, like we're gonna have a real problem in this country in the long run if we don't get that under control. So I'm not here to advocate for Doge or anything like that, but like, I don't know about you, but if you spend more than you make, eventually there's going to be a coming to Jesus meeting. And I believe if the United States doesn't really get this under control in the next 10 years, it would be very concerning to see a high 4 or a 5 in front of that debt problem. Like, honestly, it would be very tough. So hopefully we can hedge that off. I'm not here to get in the politics of it because it becomes, we're not going to get anywhere if we do that. So, so if we understand that, let's do this here. The boom or bust. So let's talk specifically, let's get into the granular stuff that affects us as wholesalers. So number one, if you have not heard about inventory in the country, inventory levels on the rise, guys, listen, inventory levels only have one way to go. They have been so artificially low since 2017, 18 to now. So that's what, 17 to 18, 18, 19, 20. For 8 years, we've had record low inventory. So I don't want you to freak out when you see inventory is rising. It is. And what you have to understand is, to understand this one, we need to go a little bit deeper, because you have to break down all real estate, because it all translates to being local. So right now, we have switched to a buyer's market in Texas, Florida, maybe California. I got to double check the date on that. Why? We had but like, it's not rocket science. They had such an explosion from 2019 to really 2022. I don't know like how you ever thought that number would not come up. Now, let me get you specific. I'm in the state of Florida, and this is where you guys need to break down. Number one, you need to know exactly where your inventory levels are. Florida just keeps ratcheting up, and here's the challenge with real estate. It's not like the stock market. It's not like an overnight correction. Every month keeps stacking more and more inventory. It means there's more of a selection. There's much more negotiations going on price, because let's face it, there are more sellers than there are buyers, and the market's going to have to balance itself out. But does that mean the sky's falling in Florida? On some of the high-end luxury stuff, yes, but we've got to go deeper than that. So if we're specifically talking about Florida, and I'm just giving an example of one state, and my goal here is you extrapolate it for the current state you either operate in or you do virtual wholesaling, either as locally or virtually. Because if I took a snapshot of Florida and just said, oh my God, this country's in trouble, we'd all give up on wholesaling. But that's not the truth. In fact, Florida and Texas and maybe California are somewhat of the exception of the rest of the United States. Now, I don't have all the numbers, but we are still at record historic low levels of inventory if you do total inventory across the country. The problem is, after the pandemic and with crazy fiscal policies of dropping rates to like below 3%, we just drove a monster. People don't even care what they paid for in Florida. And here we are in Florida, record levels. I think we're approaching double-digit inventory, which means I think 7 months is the break even, like a balanced market, 7 months of inventory. I believe we're approaching 10. We're hovering at 9. Now we're at 10. Here's the problem. When it goes up, it just keeps going up. It takes a long time to go back the other way. And so I started telling you guys back in 2022, this is going to be a long-term run on how real estate affects. Now, Florida's starting to be fun. We're starting to have real negotiating power. But like before we get into it, what about the rest of the country? So if you guys can put any comments below in the particular state you go, tell me what you feel the inventory levels are. Now, if you want to do a search, you can usually look up your local realtor data, and it usually it should be accrued for the entire state, and you can look up the levels of inventory. Inventory is a key indicator of like where your real estate market's going to go. So the number one thing I always look at is going to be the levels of inventory. Number two, I'm going to look at, so guys, put in the comments, tell me what your inventory levels are, and let's share and coordinate some inventory. Florida and Texas, it's horrible. It's bad. And you have to really want to sell your house to get it sold right now. Now, the other thing is, what do you guys think the average price gains, without Googling it or doing anything, have been over the last 5 years on average per year for the last 5 years? I would love to get some feedback on this, because you've got to understand is, so legacy, I'm not sure that OKC jumped, days on market jumped to 66. I don't know what it was before. Days on market's a key one. Days on market become a real problem when you approach the number 90. That means it's really thick. So, so DOM stands for days on market, which is a good indicator. The average inventory, and then the other one, like I do, is the average price. But we have a challenge with some of this math here. Yeah, that's never happening. I'll go over that. The crazy part is what's happened since really 2019. Honestly, I'm going to go for all the way back from 2013. But specifically 2017, 18 on, we had such historical price gains in the United States, it broke like the average. Like it made no sense. And I'll tell you exactly how it happened, because it is all common sense. So the challenge is right here. I'm going to give it to you. What do you guys think the average price increase over the last 5 years is? If you had to guess, guessing is funner. Looking it up is no fun. It's like cheating. And most people would say, 2 to 3%. That's on average. What if I show you this? Check this out. It was 9% per year on average for the country. This is crazy, guys. So if we extrapolate the last 5 years, our prices have gone up almost 45%. So am I scared if like Florida prices just 10 or 15%? No, I actually welcome it. It needs to be done. It's a complete crap, you know what I mean, show. These prices are so, even if we have a 10 to 15% market, even if you're in one of these markets that exploded like Florida or Texas, who gives a crap if it drops 10 or 15%? That's like so minor compared to the rest of the thing. But nobody go, oh my God, we have a 10% correction. Yeah, but we just went up 45%. And if you go all the way back to 2013, we pretty much doubled in price, at least in the state of Florida. It's absolutely nuts what's going on. So the next thing I want to look at if I do that is, okay, I've looked at the inventory levels. I've looked at the days on market. If you truly want to know what's going on in the real estate market, and then the next one, we did inventory, we did days on market. The next one I like to always look at, and this is a twofold, is what is the average home price? So in the United States right now, 415, 412, 416, depending on which study you look at. So what is it in your local market? Because you want to know if you're above this or below this, and that will help dictate if you're going to do local or virtual or a combination of both. Why? Because if you go to places like California and stuff, if your average price is 800,000-900,000, it's hard to get in the wholesale game because everybody wants a proof of funds. Everybody wants to work with a real estate broker. And wholesaling mostly works, listen, I know this is like stunning information. They basically work on blue collar houses, what we do. We provide affordable housing. When housing gets out of whack, renters go awry on landlords, people's houses get foreclosed on, people pass away and have to go through probate. Most lawyers don't have the stomach or the skill set to go through this, or a completely trashed house. There will always be need for a wholesaler long after I'm gone. Don't worry, we'll get in the legality part of it. I promise you on that. So, guys, share what your local price is in your market. I just want you to get to a feel, because I used to just be a Florida boy. I didn't look past my own backyard. And with the help of you guys and freewholesaling.com and everything else we do, is I can look across the entire country, because now I do deals all over the country. And I'm in shock in some of the markets. Like Utah's freaked me out. Like the prices exploded there. We're doing deals now, like now the price points are so tough, it's hard to do it without a realtor. And so if we know that's the average price of a home, so you guys have a homework. Look at your inventories in your local market. Look at the days on market. Look at your average price in your market. You already know what the average US price, 415, 416. And that kind of goes, okay, what are the trends going on in my area? And like, why do you want to identify? If you can identify trends in real estate, you can hedge some future bets. Now, if you do wholesaling correctly, you minimize your risk and you maximize your reward. You're going to work your butt off. There is no exception for that. I've never told someone, wholesaling is only, it's easy in theory, but it's brutally hard work. And those that can be the most consistent and disciplined and lead with a work ethic and not their emotions will dominate in wholesaling. But if you're just going to chase around people that want to sell their house, there's plenty of gurus that will teach you how to do that. I don't believe in that. It's a complete waste of time. It sells a crap load of courses, but you will get nowhere in wholesaling. What do I mean? Go ahead. Start on MLS. Start digging through and tell me how many motivated sellers should come up. You're going to have to go through thousands to even have a shot. And even then, you're going to have to go through the proof of funds nightmare. You're going to have to go through the non-assignable contract, and you're going to have to go through realtor hell to get there. And most people don't have the stomach because you don't speak the realtor language. And that's why I don't want you doing that. So let's keep moving here. So if we know that's the average home price in America, $416,000. Where are you on that? And guys, if you can share and just look at it. I mean, Dallas, Fort Worth, 471. Palm Beach, my backyard, 450. But look at this, Columbus, Georgia, 294. So you guys now have the ability, you can use softwares like Xlead to easily find this stuff. But it's just, to me, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable, like some of the pricing. So it does seem super pricey. I got 294 here. Mark in Vegas is 475. So he's, like, you got to understand, Vegas was behind Florida for the longest time, and like it's just catapulted. Now, the good thing is most of the places that have appreciating prices have a growing population. If you have a retreating population and a growing price, it does get a little bit concerning, but we're going to talk about that. So if you know what the average is, you can know which side of the equation you're on. It just gives you some guidance and some references of what's going on. Guys, don't be chasing prices in the $900,000 price range. It's not that I don't think you can do them. The problem is the sellers won't do it with you. I already know it. I've already tried it 1,000 times. You got to fully cash that sucker out and rehab it, because people freak out at those prices on the flipped home. Oh my God. You think they're scared at the blue collar level. Wait till you get to that one. So the next one, the interest rate lockdown. And this is where we're going to put all the pieces to the puzzle together. Now remember, I'm not an economist. I see trends. I've been doing this for 23 years. And we have an anomaly going on in real estate right now. And here's the good part. It doesn't only affect wholesalers. It it affects the entire real estate industry. Because rates were so artificially low for the longest time, basically, I didn't look at the rate chart, but I want to say almost 10 years, just a little bit below, 2012, 13 to 2021, 22, when they started raising rates, we had historically low interest rates in the United States. What fueled that? You can get behind the politics of it, but let's just say, I'm going to be nice about this. 12 of those years were ran by a Democratic administration. I find it's like, it just seems that when there's a Democrat in control, interest rates go down, and when a Republican's in control, they tend to be higher. Like that's all I can read into it. And I'm not picking sides, I'm just telling you the facts of it. I'm sure if you use Chat GPT, you could break that down. One of you people can geek out on it. I ain't gonna waste my time on that. But there's an interest rate lockdown from that longest time, 2013 to basically 2021, 22. You could get sub 5% interest rates. You could get sub 4. Heck, I've even seen sub 3%. So it made money cheaper. And when you lower the interest rate, it usually stimulates the economy and people go crazy buying stuff. Now, it makes sense that people went crazy buying real estate because real estate is the one asset that is an appreciating asset. So if you're going to buy a Ferrari or a rental property, the rental property is much sexier, even though every influencer shows you the opposite. I just think it's so cute influencers show their car. So cute. Oh, your car. If anything, when someone shows you their car, it shows you that their worth is determined by what they show you in a picture. My car is pretty unsexy because I don't like car payments, and I have a nice car too. My car gets me to point A to point B, and it drives itself. That's all. I leave it at that. Is it sexy in a picture? No, but man, it's perfect for what I need. And I love it. Can I afford more? Yeah, but what the? It doesn't pay me. Why am I going to do it? And guys, if you don't have any money, just get the basic car to get to wherever you need to go. Nobody cares what car you drive. That is an element. If you want to look rich, you're going to subscribe to that theory. If you want to be rich, you got to drive a beat up car for a while. And I would tell you, as a wholesaler, a beat up car gets you much better deals. People will size you up on your car. Let me ask you, if you pull up on a Cybertruck and you got like a cute wrapping on it to a wholesale appointment, I guarantee you're going to get your butt kicked. You look like an idiot when you do it. Just the truth. If you want to own a Cybertruck, knock yourself out. I don't care. It's not my preference of a car. It's just trendy. Full disclosure, I love Tesla products. I think the Cybertruck looks weird. I don't like attention drawn to me because I'm much more of a humble person. And I just think there's better quality cars out there. So I've sat inside the Cybertruck. Other than the screen, they look extremely cheap on the inside. Sorry, I'm just being brutally honest. So, but the thing is, when you pull up on a BMW, a Cybertruck, doesn't matter. You send a message out to the world, and it doesn't really help you. So the more, I used to drive around in a beat up Honda Accord on my appointments, and we had a beat up pickup truck, a $1,500 pickup truck. I got some of my best deals in the pickup truck. So take that little tip. I just want to let you know. But we're in an interest rate lockdown, and people don't want to give up their interest rate because they think short term. And like, if I got a great deal on a piece of real estate, I had to pay a higher interest rate. You can date the rate, but you're married to the price. And during this time, people they didn't even care what the price is because they could afford such a house. And so now here we are in 2025, and people are just having a tough time with this. And everybody's waiting for something to break. So now we have to talk about the next thing is, if we're in an interest rate lock, the problem is prices, if you go back to 2013, they've almost doubled in some of the biggest appreciating markets. If you go back to the last 5 years, they've gone up 40 to 50%. You tell me which is more powerful, the price of real estate or the interest rate. And some people are so focused on the interest rate. Listen, interest rates are important, but like on an asset of below $500,000, it's not that big of a deal. You talk about an $8, $10, $30, $50 million piece of commercial real estate, it's everything. But like people get stuck on the real estate and they feel like they have to hold on to it forever. And so let's jump on 30-year mortgage rates. This is a great indicator of what's going to affect wholesaling. And this is one of our problems. We're constantly hovering between 7.25 and 6.7. And until there's an adjustment in the rate, this is going to be a chronic issue in real estate because people feel with the higher prices and the higher interest rate, the average person is probably around 7%. It just doesn't make sense to them. Like they financially can't wrap their head around that payment. And it's a big problem in real estate in general. Real estate agents are struggling with anything above like 800 grand, 750 to 800. It's in like a no man's land because the payment gets so high. If you don't believe me, run the calculations on these. Now, if you have a house 350, 400 below, it's basically what we call essential housing now. And like there's just a cost of the money. And if you have to borrow, that's the cost of the money. And that's what we have to wrap. So if we get too high of a price and these interest rates don't break down, this is why we're getting so much pressure on inventories, particularly in Florida, Texas, and California. Because when you got more people selling than buying, it's just economics 101, period. There is like, you don't even have to overthink it. That's just how it works. So if we understand that, let's look at this. Let me put up a graphic here. I think I have it. Let me share my screen. So just to show you, so sometimes you have to take the 30,000 foot approach. So if we look at this, this is crazy. It's that old. I think I did this from. Yeah, well, I'm 2 years older than the start of this chart. Anyway, so this is the last roughly 50 years. And if we look at this, 1980 was just a wild child. I don't know what the hell was going on then. Look at this. At one point, they had 16%, 16.25%. And then it went high as, check this out, 18.39%. I mean, guys, wrap your head around this. We're all freaking out at 6.8 right now. These people had a multiple of like 3 and 4, like it's just nuts. And then we look at, and then we had a nice steady climb from basically 1988, 1987. And then we went down, look at this. Oh my God, everyone got so excited. It got down to 7%. So guys, listen, from 1993, 94 to all the way back to 1971, the norm break even was 7 to 7.5%. And I think the United States economy has lost its foundation of how interest rates work. Guys, think about this. Basically, for 20 years, the norm was, actually for 25 years, the norm was 7%. Actually, let's go 2000. Here we are at 8.25. Now, I do take into account that housing prices were substantially cheaper back then, and we all understand that. So now we've had this explosion in pricing, and I should have done I should have put the price next to this. But basically, let's figure out this. From 2013 all the way to, honestly, 2023, we had a massive explosion in pricing, like stuff we've never seen before. And then I want you to understand this and take a look at this. Let me see. I'm double checking the numbers here, seeing what the shaded ones were for, I forget. So then we look at this. So I told you right around, I'm corrected. It was basically 2011. And then we go from 2011 all the way down to, look at this, 2020, 2.72%, 2.97%, 2.99%. And then we did not break 5% till basically Q2 of 2022. And now, those of you who just got started in wholesaling, you're looking at basically from 2022, 6.5, 7, 6.5%. We're just holding on these figures. And that's one of the challenges. They're all like, oh my God, how the heck are we ever going to do this? Guys, it's actually freaking the norm. What's not the norm is these prices are so high. Now, it is what it is. But I'm here to tell you is what we have to understand is what is the new norm going forward? I'm here to tell you, I only have 23 years experience. I had no idea what's going on in the 80s. I'm trying to survive high school like everybody else. But like, guys, people are paying 16 and 18% and we're fine with it. Now, we didn't have the debt problems. There's a lot of other stuff to wrap around and we're going to get to it. But you got to understand this is, in my opinion, a 5 to 5.5% is what I call a neutral real estate market, meaning it's balanced, it's normal. And I believe we're on our way to kind of get back there because when interest rates come down, people can afford more. Also, people feel better about it. They just feel like they're getting more buying power and properties start to get sucked off the market. Now, it's going to take time to suck up the inventory, especially places like Florida and Texas. But like I look at other parts of the country, it's still exploding. Tennessee's on fire. The Carolinas are on fire, like a lot of stuff. And if you understand that, guys, you can really, really just get it going. And yes, you can use AI to look at a lot of this stuff. I'm just looking at the questions that you guys put it on here. A lot of questions. But guys, remember, all real estate's local. Please don't make a generalization about it. But if you know what's going on nationally, you can kind of go, am I ahead of the curve or am I behind the curve? And we have to use it. So here's the real impact. What is the Federal Reserve going to do? We already know the Federal Reserve is basically holding the entire stock market hostage. We have record low unemployment rates. It just, to me, I'm just going to say it. I know I shouldn't say it earlier. It seems somewhat political right now. It makes no sense why interest rates are not dropping. To me, everything's there and they're balancing out. Inflation at 2%, they said that's their target. But the funny thing is they dropped rates before the election cycle and now they've just been flat. And I don't understand it. And so I feel like there's a big slingshot effect happening here. The problem is you have to extrapolate it for your local market. You can't just look at the national, okay, that's okay, we're just like Florida. Florida's got some pain. It's got pain. And let me tell you, go back to Florida real quick before. So on the Federal Reserve, I looked at the probability. It looks like there is a 75% probability they're going to drop rates by this fall. The original prediction was by this spring. You see how this is a constant moving curve. So I'm going to get back specifically to Florida because I want you to learn from some of the trends we do in that. And so the Federal Reserve has done their usual. And keep in mind, the Federal Reserve Chair is an appointed position by who? The president. So there's always going to be some biased and political agenda there. They say it's not, but like, I don't believe it. But anyways, so here's what the Federal Reserve is. They keep moving the goalpost. They said if they could get inflation down to 2%, they would drop rates. Well, they lied. They flat out lied. And now because there's a new administration and there's switch, I find it funny that they dropped rates before and it felt like the economy was just like, it had a lot of problems. But remember, feeling doesn't mean much. And how you look at the data, you can either be crashing or you can be booming. Here's what they blamed it on, ready? The Fed has basically parlayed and punted, and they said, well, we're going to see what the impact of the tariffs are on it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of what's going on with the whole tariff thing. It does, I think there would be probably a better way to do it, but I get it. There's a man in office who's got to get something done in 4 years because he technically can't serve another term, and he's trying to have the biggest impact, and he's trying to get all the pain out up front. Now, unless you were hiding under a rock, they agreed with China they were going to suspend all tariffs, but we got to cross this can 90 days from now, and I hate that part of it. So the stock market exploded today, roughly 3 to 4%, one of the biggest gains we've ever seen in years. And so now the Fed, it just seems like they're like, okay, well, we're just going to blame it on the tariffs. And I get what they're trying to do with the tariffs, but it is a pain in the ass right now. And I don't know how you take on a country like China, because China typically doesn't do what they say. But whatever. I'm not a tariff expert. I know tariffs would affect everything on U.S. real estate. If you don't think it will, you're kidding yourself. Lumber, steel, all that. And even if you bring it all back in America, it takes years to get it going. So this $5 to $7 trillion investment in the United States, it's going to take 3 to 4 years to even see the final outcome of it. So everything takes time to turn over, and we have to look at it. So before we do that, if we want to go back, let me just touch on Florida. Just because I'm in Florida, I want you to understand. You got to look at national. You got to look at your trends in your area, and you got to look at nationally. Like right now in Florida, our prices, in my opinion, have gotten like ridiculous what they were traditionally, and people are struggling to pay their bills. But the challenge is inventory levels are rising, and so I've done a big push to do townhomes. And townhomes are just, you know, it's a one big property. It's divided in 3 and 4, and then people own them individually, and then they split the cost of the roof. That's a townhome. I love townhomes in Florida. Yes, they have HOAs. They're a little bit more lenient. Condos have always been difficult in Florida, but there's a new level that's happened in condos, and it's a problem. So 3 years ago, they had a very, very tragic event happen in Miami where a condo on the beach actually collapsed. Now, it's already been proven it's from massive neglect. The board didn't address issues. The condo has been falling apart for years. It did not happen overnight. And the problem is the Florida legislation reacted quickly and swiftly. It's tragic that many people died, but now everybody else in the state of Florida is paying the price. So the problem is 81% of these units are owned by senior citizens. And so they came up with a new legislation called SIRS, S-I-R-S. And the problem is it gave a one-size-fits-all. Right now, to try to buy a condo in the state of Florida, you would have to be insane. The sky is falling. The state has put such high restrictions. They figured the average assessment for just an average condo is about $110,000. That's how much these condos have to, especially the ones on the beach. And so they can't sell them. The banks don't want to finance them. And now we have state reporting that has to be reported every year. And they're doing just crazy requirements. So anything that's deemed a COA, a condo owners association, they can't, I'm just telling you right now, they are not selling. There's no, so they're still arguing the final bill, but everything's supposed to drop by the last day of this year. And then when they drop, all the assessments, everything's gonna have to be, no one's gonna wanna touch a condo for 3 to 5 years. Now, I remember back in 2010, there was a company called Condo Vultures, and specifically in Miami, and they bought hundreds of millions of dollars of condos, but they sat on them for 9 to 10 years. And so unless you got that kind of staying power, this is what I mean by locally. If you come in Florida and somebody contacts you off, like say you did virtual and they had a condo and you go, Rick, it's only worth 150 grand. She's selling to me 30. I'd normally say you have a smoking deal, but I'm just telling you, if it's a condo, I almost guarantee you don't. And a lot of suckers are contracting these condos. Why? Because you guys submitted to me. I will not touch a condo. I am going to repeat it to you. I'm going to take it off my sellmypaper.com. In the state of Florida, condos are a nightmare because the state has put such strict requirements on it. It's somebody has to make up the bill. Now, they also say that politics in this is the state's trying to get rid of these older buildings to put new development to raise the tax base. I don't know. Maybe I'm not that smart and I can't get through it, but we have to understand if you're doing Florida and you go, man, these condos, like they're everywhere, they're 50 cents on the dollar below, run, because it is a pain in the ass. Like, I know I should have said that, but like, I looked at one for 30 cents on the dollar and I won't touch it. I won't touch it. And the condos, all the banks know, they're scrutinizing the financials. I'm just telling you, they're making you put ginormous reserves. The cost to own a condo is suddenly terrible. And I believe something's going to give sooner or later, but I'm just telling you, it's hard to get insurance on them. And then don't even get me started on the COAs. There's a lot of restrictions on resales, on renting and stuff like that. So they were already difficult to begin with. Now, just please, guys, if you're wholesaling in the state of Florida, do not touch condos, period. They don't make sense. Even if you get a subject to, it doesn't make sense to me. because nobody knows the final outcome, and we have to remember that. So let's get back to wholesaling. I'm going to get specific now. This is the fun part. Now we're going to get really into our business. But I had to kind of parlay where we're at with it. Number one, look at the national averages and look to see where your market is so you know exactly where you are on the roadmap. So we talked about tariffs. I don't know, guys. This is like such a wildly moving thing. I agree with the synopsis. It should be fairly done across. If we trade with you, you should do the same. How politicians let it get so one-sided and like screw America is ridiculous to me. If you guys saw today, not that it really rates the real estate, but it kind of goes along the same lines as tariffs, is the administration passed an act against pharmaceutical companies saying you have to sell your drugs for the same price in America as you do the rest of the world. Did you know we pay 3 times more than the average person? Somebody just did one where they bought Ozempic in the United States. I think the bill was like $800, and then they went over to Canada. It was like $30. Ridiculous. So I will give a shout out to Mark Cuban because he's been trying to tackle this problem for 4 or 5 years through software. If he didn't have such a beef with the administration, maybe they could get together and do some real damage because he's a very smart man. But polar opposite political views. But I'm just saying, by the way, don't buy pharmaceutical companies because I believe they're going to be on a 2-year downtrend. They're also have come to the common sense where these companies should not be shooting commercials. Only the United States, I think 2 other small countries allow it, to where they program you to influence your doctor. It's disgusting. And these pharmaceutical companies are some of the most manipulative companies I've ever seen in my life. I do not believe in pharmaceutical drugs. I'm all about saving people's lives and helping people with terminally ill stuff. But I don't believe these drugs were designed for everyday people because they all have side effects and it's crap. So get rid of your pharmaceutical stocks because here's a key stat. And we're going to go deep in the wholesaling, but this is very interesting. Did you know pharmaceutical advertisement represents almost 80% of the advertising for common TV? So if they outlaw that, which they are 100%, and God knows, because I'm so tired of people dancing around and talking about their A1C and listen, you got a problem, use drugs to get under control, but eventually you have to take control and fix it yourself. These pharmaceuticals want you hooked for life so they make money. But if 80% of that revenue stops, what happens to all these TV programs? They're dead in the water. Nobody's going to like, first of all, most of people aren't even watching the crap to begin with. But once you remove that pharmaceutical stuff, and by the way, they know exactly who to target. And if you're on a more liberal channel, they know you need a lot more like help. Don't pump me. I'm just telling you what the numbers are. It's true. And it's ridiculous. 80% of advertising. And if you get rid of that, what the hell's going to happen to TV? I'm hoping it all goes away. Let's just have our sports. Let's have Netflix and let's get back to what America was supposed to be. But like, okay, I'm getting off topic. Let's jump in and let's get into real specifics now. This is it. This is what you guys are here to watch. Okay? Let me put this up. This is where it's going to get good. And I'm just going to tell you the truth, guys. And you have to understand why I'm telling you the truth. Because sometimes the truth hurts a little bit, and we have to know. So everything's kind of herring on tariff. They just did a 90-day reprieve with China. So I felt like it gave us a bump, but I feel like we're going to have to kick this can again 90 days down the road. I wish they just would have fixed the damn thing. We have to get past this tariff thing in the United States because everybody's blaming a potential recession, and then the Federal Reserve is hanging all on interest rates. And I think it's irresponsible what's going on with that part. So let's talk about NAR's impact on wholesaling, because if you guys don't think this is a real deal, it is. So NAR is the National Association of Realtors. They just got their clocked clean for an antitrust lawsuit, basically forcing people to pay commissions that they never agreed to do it. So in a short story, the listing agent and the buyer's agent, the listing agent would put up a 6% and they split it with the buyer's agent. And the problem is NAR wasn't manipulating this. It's completely illegal. That's like telling people you got to pay me a 3% and that's it. Was it convenient and easy? Yeah. You know what? I didn't even really have a problem with it, but like NAR started manipulating listings, and like any other corporation for corporate greed, you had to join their organization to do everything. NAR completely manipulates their clients. They control them. You can tell I'm not a realtor. I'm just telling you guys the truth. So I see all these fees because I have to pay them in one of my companies. And honestly, I believe it's almost extortion, how you have to get it. So with today's technology age, if you look at the problem with the air traffic controllers, NAR is doing the same thing. They're using antiquated information to do the MLS. There could be such a more robust system, but they're forcing you have to go behind the paywall to use it. Now, what's their impact? They lost that lawsuit. They got a massive judgment against them, and they're trying to figure out how to pay for it. And their user base, they went from 1.5, 1.6 million, and I believe they're going to be probably under 1 million. I haven't seen the numbers. They're probably going to hide it from you. Now, NAR is all about making wholesaling illegal. Why? Because they want everyone to be licensed, because if they're licensed, that is their lead pool. So if you get a license to your state of Florida, it doesn't mean you're a realtor. It just means you're licensed to deal with real estate in your state. NAR, I can't prove this, but I believe they are secretly pushing through their lobbyist efforts, which is a lot of money. And they're the most powerful lobbyist in the real estate industry. They're the ones behind pushing a lot of this crap on these states, especially these real estate boards. So if you force someone to get a real estate license, and I want you to understand this, if you're forced to get a real estate license, you become a lead pool for them. They target everyone heavily to get a license to join NAR and their local realtors association. And that's why they're at number 2. It limits your ability to market. You have to market like a realtor, which sucks. And so, like, don't kid yourself. I know who's driving this bus. NAR not only wants you to be licensed to make sure everybody goes under their umbrella, they're coming after your assignment fees, your double closing fees. You can call it whatever you want. They want a piece of all your action. And I think it's disgusting. I hate it. And I'm calling them to the plate on it. Hopefully I don't get sued by NAR, but like, come on, guys, like really, being a wholesaler is a completely different world than being a real estate agent. Do wholesalers have to work with real estate agents? Absolutely. Does it have to do vice versa? Very few real estate agents want to work with wholesalers because NAR trains them that we are like the bottom of the scum barrel, like we are brutal and it's tough. And I hate that part of it. So if we understand that, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Hold on. I'm checking comments while we do this. Okay. So if we know that NAR is having an impact on it, what can we do? Honestly, there's not much you can do. They are the most powerful lobbyists in the country for real estate. They've been doing this they're very established and they're very organized. And they have very, very powerful lawyers. They have very, very powerful lobbyists. Lobbyists are just fancy words for greasy salesmen sitting in Washington, D.C., influencing and bribing lawmakers. There, I said it. It's true. So NAR's impact on legalities of wholesaling. This is where it's getting ugly, guys. So I want you to understand this. You've got 2 trains of thoughts when you do this. So listen, for most of the part, the entire country is free reign for wholesaling. I'm all about the opportunities, and I'm always going to focus on the opportunities. When they straddle me where I can't do much anymore, I'll pivot. I already have 5 ways. Me and Zach have locked and loaded 5 ways you can still do wholesaling without being licensed as a real estate. We're not going to share it till all this crap is done with. Give me a year and I'll give it to you. Why? Because I'm not going to tell them how to change the laws so they can manipulate it to get rid of my techniques. Understand this. Wholesaling was founded from entrepreneurs on a mindset. There's a better way to do real estate that's challenging. And we can mitigate the risk and actually maximize the return. And that's how wholesaling was founded. So why do you think it's going to be any different? So we know it's being attacked. If we understand it, the legalities of wholesaling, here's the biggest challenge that's really impacted wholesaling in the last 5 years. And I believe it is a tremendous negative, and the people behind doing this stuff will take no accountability. They promote it everywhere, and then they just wash their hands. Why? because they only sell courses. They don't do the business and they don't care. So there's been a huge trend in the last 5 years. Why do wholesaling? Why compete with them? Why would you torture yourself like that? Now, sounds sexy. I already told you wholesaling is not easy. I take that back. It's easy, but it's really hard work. And why not? Why don't I sell you something to take the easy path? If you guys really think the easy path is how you get ahead in life, you're in for a world of hurt. And choose your heart. You can eat whatever you want. It'll taste good for a while, but you'll be in pain forever, because you're going to get so unhealthy and you're going to see so many doctors, and it's going to cost you so much. It's going to limit your quality of your life that you'll have to switch over and go through an intense program for years to get back on where you need to do. So just do the hard stuff up front, or you can kick the can down the road and it can be brutally harder later. You're getting hard either way. So if you chose wholesaling, you're good. So why on earth would you guys fall for this crap saying, I have an easier way than wholesaling? They're already telling you the easy way is into your pocketbook. It's the truth. This isn't just my opinion. We've had 5 years of data. Let me put it up here. Novations, I'm going to throw it out there. They have nothing to do with wholesaling, but they've been lumped in with wholesaling, and it's the cure on how to do wholesaling easy. Let me give you the statistics and the facts on Novations. They have over a 60% fail ratio. Yeah, that's title company information, not mine. You have to enact legal documents, which most people don't understand, and you get a kit from a guy or a gal selling you a course with no legal expertise and no law license. And then you're going to go and do what we call cloud title, which has consequences if you are not successful in your transaction. A cloud title means you got to work with me, or I'm not going to let you sell your property unless you sue me in the court. And there are penalties for clouding titles. It's called defamation of title, and it's extremely steep. And if you're a professional and you take advantage of an average homeowner in this, it's going to be problematic. Novations they actually have a purpose. Novations, I've done novations. When I do a wholesale deal and it just won't work out, and I find a buyer that's like, listen, I'm willing to take it on, but I got to do financing or something, I step out of the way and I replace my contract with that contract. Now, if somebody compensates me or something like that, gives me a little fee or something like that, as a marketing fee, I'm fine with it, but I don't depend on it. I don't make it like, if you don't do this, I'm not going to release your lien. This power of attorney is one of the most destructive things I've ever seen. And right now, if you do a power of attorney and you are not a family member or a licensed professional to do it, your title is going to be problematic. Now, here's the best part is people go, I have a special title company that will do it all for you. God bless you. Why would we need a special title company? Are they going to do something that's not above board? I don't know. And now I'm seeing all these investor-friendly title companies where they're saying investors put it together in the money. Guys, you want nothing to do with the title company. You have to be as neutral as possible. Otherwise, you're going to be risked at litigation. Because if you're an owner of a title company and a deal went through your title company and it was questionable, not only are you on the hook as the buyer, possibly committing some sort of crime, you have a contractual obligation with the title company too. So, okay, maybe you didn't do anything with the title company, but like if you've had an investment in the title company and they're found guilty of something, it's going to massively affect how they do business, which means your investment's going to be zero. And title companies, more and more, they just want to be neutral. I learned this a long time ago. Somebody came to me for an investment in a title company. I put 10 grand into it. I never saw the money again, and the company folded. Why? Because they bent the rules. They didn't do it for me, just in general, and I didn't understand it. So I do not invest in companies that I don't have direct control of. I don't want to be in the title business, and I suggest the same for you. Now, let's jump to the next fun one. Subject to. Good Lord. Guys, I saw this coming a mile away. And by the way, I love Subject to. I love to help people out, and I believe in its true heart. Subject to is just like wholesaling. It was founded out of a need from entrepreneurs. And I value and I cherish this point. But somehow we've made it mainstream. And so if I told you Novations were basically pairing you up with somewhat distressed home sellers to either fix up their house or bring partners in to do it, and then to basically lie to the bank and represent it as a retail transaction. And even though you wrote a fake contract and you're fixing it out, almost every novation's a complete lie. And if everybody knew the truth, nobody would move forward to it. It's the absolute truth. From the power of attorney to the replacement of the contract. I promise you, if you told the new bank you were replacing a contract, they would never, ever fund the deal. So novations are being challenged everywhere. They're becoming more and more problematic. And for that reason, I get a lot of deals on failed novations. My biggest problem with my novations is I can't get people to release the liens, and then we have to sue them. Now, I don't want to be sitting there and sue someone that took a novation course. They're never going to show up, so I have to go through all the defaults, and it's just a huge time sucker for me. So now we jump over to subject twos. I love this strategy. Don't get me wrong. There is a time and a place for it. I believe it's extremely irresponsible to take someone that's never done a real estate deal and just go hunt for these alone. It's my opinion. But I've done this a long time. And here's the trend that's going on. People are going out and finding subject twos, and somebody's teaching, I don't know who, but obviously someone's doing it, is now you can assign your subject to. It is so wrong. Can you do it? Yes. Does it make it right? No. And the problem is, if that thing gets assigned 2 or 3 investors down and the end guy or gal does not care to make that payment, when that payment gets missed, and that original debtor, who are they going to call? You, the wholesaler, and you're like, no, I sold it. I'm free and clear. Yeah, but Rick, they didn't make the payment. I know, but it's not my problem. Are you that type of person? Because if you are, you shouldn't be in the business. And somehow we sold subject to under creative financing is, why compete with wholesalers when you can just give sellers what they want? Now listen, as you get more skill sets in real estate, particularly if you master wholesaling first, which is the art of buying deep discounted properties, if you can master wholesaling, you can do anything you want in real estate. If you can't master wholesaling, you have limitations. You most likely got to be a fix and flipper, or you got to be a realtor. It's just the truth. I've watched 1,000 people go through. That's how it works out. Now, if you're good and someone goes, hey, listen, I just owe too much money. I'm leaving the country. I don't know what to do with this property. If I sell it, I'm going to go upside down. If you have the funds, if you have the means, and you have the skill sets and the knowledge to take that on and keep it in your portfolio, knock yourself out. Or if you're responsible and you understand how these transactions can get out of control and you have to calm them down, what if someone doesn't pay? Because that is the biggest question. You're going to get it. And here's what you do. You can hire an intermediate company. It's going to be an expense, and they can handle the escrows for that. Most newbies, subject to people, don't want the expense and they skip it. And then somebody sells it. The problem with creative financing, for the most part, you have to wait to really get your profit. Wholesaling solves that because you get your profit up front. Is it more work? Absolutely. I don't even hide it from you. But now we've made subject to a mainstream, skip wholesaling, and then the only success KPI is, did you get a contract? Just because you got a creative contract or a subject to does not mean you made money. And with the changing insurance and the property tax and how insurance works, it's complicated. I do not teach subject to newbies. Why? I don't want the responsibility of it. It's not that I don't believe in it. I just believe you've got to see enough transactions to understand what you're doing. And now it's gone mainstream. It's everywhere. There's ginormous groups. And I love creative financing. I really did. But I learned the hard way. I did creative financing as a 2-year wholesaler. I want you to learn from this. 2-year wholesaler. I did 9 or 10 subject to deals. And what happened after 2006 and 2009? The market went back almost 50 to 60% in Florida. I couldn't rent the houses. I smoked through $50,000, which I thought was a lot of money at the time. And I had to meet with a lawyer, and I just had to suck it up. I had to go back to the homeowners, and I had to redeed the house back to them. As painful it was that, or I was probably going to get sued. And I learned a valuable lesson. Anything can happen in life. Now I got people putting up, and guys, I was putting up minimal money, like a couple $1,000s. Now I see people teaching to borrow money from other people to put up for a payment. Are you kidding me? If you can't make money from day one on a subject to, please don't do it. And I prefer you partner up with someone that knows what they're doing. I don't care who it is, but for God's sake, get some guidance. And if you are going to sell your subject to on an assignment, you better know what you're getting into, and you better understand what is the worst case scenario if that deal comes back. So I believe Novations subject twos had a major impact on wholesaling, not in a good way. And somehow these two have got wrapped up with wholesaling. And just so you know, they have nothing to do with wholesaling at all. They're two completely different strategies. Novation is just a fancy way to be a realtor without a realtor's license. That's why and now it's fallen under the wholesaling umbrella, and we're having a lot of problems because investors are walking away from these deals, leaving deals, the titles clouded, and it's created a massive problem for us. So I want you to understand the impact on that. So you have a choice, guys. You have a choice in this. In my opinion, you either see opportunity or you feel like you're limited by regulation. There's so many people in our industry, like, we all agree we love wholesaling, the ones that truly do it. But like, why shouldn't you have the same opportunities that I had and all these other people have? Now, you got to be responsible about it. I've never told you in any other ways. And people always asking, Rick, how do we deal with the regulations in wholesaling? Number one, you have more opportunity in wholesaling now than like from even when I had in 2003. Are there more people in the game? Yes. Will there be more people coming in the game? Most likely. The regulation is trying to switch that around. So are you going to run like a sheep? You can be a lion, go out and get it, man. Just kill it, go, have fun with it. Guys, you're in the land of opportunity. Most other countries, it's very, very hard to wholesale. The regulation's massive. So there's some regulation. I'm not telling you to ignore them. I'm telling you to read your state laws, but read them. For God's sakes, don't take it from an influencer, because everyone's got a bias. Hell, I'll even tell you right now, I have a bias. I'm brutally honest with you because I love wholesaling. I love what it can do for me, my family, and everybody else that I've shared with it. It does incredible things, but there are responsibilities. We already have laws on the books. If you're fraudulent, you can write 3,000 more laws. Those people tend to break them. If you're going to forge people's names and stuff like that, there's already laws on the books. Those are already in there. By inviting more regulation, it just makes it worse. Now, how do we address the regulation? Let me just go over there real quick. We're going to go on to the marketing part. Do your part. Call your state representatives. Meet with them. Meet with your local representatives. I've done this in the state of Florida. I know them all by personal name, and I know their office numbers. They know my opinion on wholesaling. The question is, do they know yours? Are you really going to depend on a third party to handle this all for you? Because usually I got to give them some money and like, well, we're going to talk to people. And guys, hiring a lobbyist, it is not for the novice. Like, the lobbyists are really, they're like lawyers without a law degree, without the bar exam. And they're very, very expensive. And it's all about who you rub elbows with it. The problem is, here's the honest to God, if I thought that was the route, I would tell you to do it. The problem is we're in such a niche business. Even if we all gave $100 and you got, I don't know, X amount in it, what kind of damage are you really going to do? And then are we only just creating our own paperwork or our own little certifications? No one's going to look at it. Like, honestly, it's just the truth. If we all just hold ourselves to a higher standard, I already told you, my cure is if we could get people to join a real estate fund, regardless of if you're an influencer or not, I don't care. But if people all want to put in, and then whoever puts in a significant amount of money, usually 50 grand or more, we could probably get $500,000, 350,000. The money sits in an escrow and an interest-bearing account. T-bills, money market. We're not going to let people draw salaries and do all this other BS, because that's what all these funds wind up doing. And then when we have someone that gets sued for some ridiculous law, like this new West Virginia law, the North Carolina one, whatever sticks, let's go to town with a lawyer. Let's go get the baddest guy or gal out there and fight for our federal rights to do this. And then once we win one, and by the way, you might have to push all the way to the Supreme Court. It might take 5 years. That's why I'm talking about loading $500,000 in there, because I don't know about you. I'm in a current lawsuit right now over a piece of real estate, and we dropped $250,000 like it was nothing. And we're not even halfway through the fight yet. So I believe it'll cost between $250 and $500. And then if we can win it, which I believe you can, that is a case law that you can all go back and recite and stick it up your state's boards. Because I rather spend $500,000 with a bona fide lawyer in the court system than a lobbyist knocking on doors at Washington, D.C. I just don't think they're going to get anywhere. Honestly, I don't think there's any wholesalers that have skill sets working with lobbyists, and lobbyists are brutally expensive. It's really just professional extortion. Like, that's really what it is. So if we understand that, we have to understand that. So let's talk about marketing and wholesaling. Now we're just going to get really granular. This is where I can give you my absolute expertise, and honestly, this is the best part on it. You ready? So, do you think a license is going to help you or hurt you in wholesaling? Just to wrap it up. And I'm telling you right now, dude, a license is going to kill you in wholesaling, because what they want to do, NAR, all of them, they want to put you in a corner. And they know once they put you into the licensing, then you're regulated by who? Realtors. You got to do what realtors conform to. Otherwise, you're going to get fines. They can take your license away. They're going to hang over you. So the definition of a license is the government's ability to take a right away from you and sell it back to you so you can lease it for the rest of your life. That's how we got stuck with property taxes. Don't even get me started on that crap. But like, if you think it's going to help, you're kidding yourself. You are going to be controlled the rest of your life. Now, if you have to get a license, then we're going to have to play ball by doing that. I would not do it unless it's the only route you possibly have to do. Keep in mind, there's influencers that went out there and told you, hey, I got a license. I'm an investor-friendly company. They did companies with the letter X and maybe P in it. I'm not going to say it. The company's falling off the cliff. You know why? Because it was an MLM. And it was perfect for influencers because they could charge you a fee. They get like an affiliate upfront fee, and then whatever you do after that. All those models are crashing and burning now, just as I predicted. You actually have to provide real value in real estate. I don't care if you're a wholesaler or a realtor. So doing the MLM approach to real estate was just a fast moneymaker, and now it's blowing up on all the companies that did it. By the way, you know why? Because all these wholesalers and the influencers that had these incredible brokerages take it, they're all gone. The influencers that wanted to sell you NFTs and cryptos, they're all being sued, and they're all gone too. So what's left? I don't do any of this crap. My son, I know I push the envelope on marketing and stuff like that, but like, I'm not an idiot, dude. You really listen, NFTs will have their place in time, but it was a horror story in wholesaling. Why? Lifetime access. You get this, you sell all this crap up front, and you get an electronic coin. And guess what? People get their millions of dollars and then they never deliver. It's easy, it's tempting. Why? Because then it's an obligation. And I still see this in real estate, especially in wholesaling. Anybody who offers lifetime access, it's just 100% lie. You can't do it. Like, it's not, number one, it's not responsible. Number two, how are you going to commit to someone for the next 30, 40 years of your life? You have no idea what the next 3 years holds, next 40 or 50. Okay, let's talk about marketing and wholesaling. You ready? Texting's having issues. We all know this, right? We all know the issues we have in texting. So if we understand that, we have to go, okay, well, where's it going? And this is a good one. So the problem is all the carriers have colluded. And so anybody does, especially if you do ninja mode in X leads, you know about A2P compliance. Not our system, it's required. And they want to register you, so if you get abusive, they can take you off. I do like texting, but eventually they're going to make this very difficult. So I would run as fast as you can with this. I don't know what the exact future holds. I believe they're going to do the same thing as they do with cold calling with it, but we'll see. You still have time, though. A lot of people, we're still getting deals from it. It's still a great way to communicate it. The opt-in language is where the fun play is, and we have a fix. If you go to xleads.com, we can show you how to work with that while it's still legal. I can't guarantee that forever. You see why I don't say, oh, lifetime texting, I'll show you how to solve this the rest of your life, because it's a lie. Like, if most people just tell you the truth, it'd be a lot easier. Now, let's talk about PPC, pay per click. Massive problems here. It doesn't make financial sense. Now, number one, if you've never done PPC and you don't understand it, you have to go out and hire a third party. Guess who the third parties are now? Most of them are former wholesale coaches / realtors. Gee, don't see a conflict of interest there. Huh. And they're extremely lucrative contracts for them. The problem with PPC, if you truly take in the numbers, unless you do it yourself and you understand how it works, it's hard to make an ROI on it. Somebody prove me different. I can't find a company that exclusively uses PPC unless they do it in-house and one of their partners is solely dedicated to it. It's a huge time suck. It takes a lot of studying and understanding, and it's a very fast-paced world, and it is high risk, medium reward at best. And that's why I don't like it. And I'm going to talk about what I think is going to be a real struggle with PPC coming up in the next 12, really 6 to 18 months, which is going to make it, it's going to rewrite. Anybody who's a PPC expert is now going to have to be a new type of expert because PPC is the old way of how people search for leads. Well, let's not forget this. If you thought PPC bad, there's another level to it called PPL. And basically it's PPC done for you. So these companies are everywhere. They market them. Most of them tie themselves to influencers. They tie themselves to former coaches, and they tell you it's the greatest thing. And by the way, they are making a massive amount of money off you guys. And these are professional marketers that know how to manipulate you. And I'm just like, there's a reason I don't promote it. I just don't believe in it. I've tested it over and over in our own businesses. I've known people in the business 20 plus years. I can't find one person who dedicates solely on PPL. Because by the time you're done paying them for their fees and stuff, and if you do it for a year, you're going to have a very dismal ROI. Argue it. Like I have argued 10 people, 9 will tell me it sucked. I couldn't make it work. Now, there's a lot of inexperienced people on there. So number one, if you're brand new to wholesaling, you should not be touching PPC or PPL, particularly PPL. You have no idea what you're doing, and they're just going to, and they're happy to take your money. And they'll take it so fast, you don't even know what hit you. Okay? I find the only people that really promote it are the ones that are like getting it for free anyways. Can you get a deal from PPL? Absolutely, yes. The problem is their motivation is actually low. They just want a number. They don't want a relationship with you. And I teach the complete opposite, so you know how I feel about that. I'm just telling you, PPL is a real struggle. And if someone's doing PPL, say, listen, show me the deals you've actually closed on with a HUD and show me your advertising expense with them, and then give me a calculation of your ROI. And when crickets hit, like you don't hear anything, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because that's what I get on every one of them. Honestly, I'd rather just donate 25 grand to someone who needs it than waste my money with a PPL company. And by the way, PPL companies, they reached out to one of my big direct mail companies. They're trying to find a way to get leads from direct mail to sell them back to you. And then they are definitely attacking cold calling because the ROI on PPC is so bad. So you're going to see the people that jumped on the PPL bandwagon, they're going to have to find something else. So hopefully they'll figure out how to market on their own. If you think you can just outsource your marketing, have someone else deliver you, it's a really cool concept. But once again, you're falling in the marketing trap. And anything that's super easy up front is going to be brutally hard in the long run for you. And if you understand that, you know why you don't want to do that. So let's go to the next one. Boy, this is, and guys, I'm just giving you about the industry. This is not an indictment on anyone that promotes this stuff or not. People do what they want. I can't control what they do, but I want you to look at the data. Don't look at the spin. Remember, what people say and what they do, you got to separate it. Facebook leads, same issue. Terrible ROI. And here's what everyone will tell you is try to tell you Facebook leads. And by the way, I've done them. They work somewhat in a market, but like they are really hard to convince on a wholesale deal. And the problem is the time to nurture a Facebook lead is so high. So on average, on a real estate lead, it's 12 to 16 months. Wholesaling's worse. You can almost double that time frame. So are you willing to spend a couple hundred hours on one lead that's at best 20 to 30% probability? I'm not. That's why I don't do them. I don't promote them. Are the leads cheap? Yeah. But like if you're never going to get a deal from it, it's the most expensive type of marketing you, and it's a huge waste of time. People do not go to Facebook to wholesale a property. Just end of the day. They go to look at cute cat pictures, tell stories. Us old timers go to Facebook. You younger guys do much more, Instagram's kind of old for a lot of you guys, and then you have TikTok for you younger ones. What about direct mail? Now, you guys know I'm a big advocate of direct mail, but I'm going to tell you the issues of direct mail. A lot of people from PPC and PPL are coming back to direct mail, which is putting more pressure on direct mail. Why people like direct mail is because it's scalable. One person can do it. You can be an army of one and do it. And it's legal. That's the biggest comeback. And so old things become the new things. The challenge with direct mail is the response rate is plummeting because more and more people are going into it. And the problem with PPL is you pay on it based on demand. And the more people that drive and try to influence you to buy PPL, the more you have to pay for the leads. And I believe it's at a point where it doesn't make financial sense anymore. There might have been a point it worked, but like in my market, the average lead is $300 to $400. So if I call 10 leads in one day, I got to spend $4,000. Guys, that's worse than PPC. That's big, big money. And most people that start out with us are basically have no money. So I don't even waste my time talking about it. I get more crap from PPL companies. It's just because nobody can show me numbers. Nobody can. And the only people they can refer me to are influencers. And I don't have a problem. They can, but that's it. The only reason they're promoting it is because they're probably getting the leads free or they're getting affiliates for any type of signups. And that kind of creates a bias that I don't need to pull the veil back for you know how that works. I can make a crap load of money off PPL companies, but then I got to deal with you guys, and I'd rather just talk to you and tell you how it is. So, so if we understand that, so remember how I told you the impact on PPC and why it's going to be problematic? Well, I will tell you this right now. AI is going to change how PPC works. So I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time in ChatGPT. I like Grok. I do both paid versions because I get speed with it. And I can analyze data like this. I'm not going on web searches anymore. And yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but Apple, its first time in history, had a reduction in internet searches, which means people are using these AI softwares to figure stuff out. Now, one of the reasons we founded XLeads is we knew which way we're heading with all this. And with XLeads, we can integrate all AI features into it. And there's a lot of nuances. It's expensive. It's a real pain in the butt. But I will tell you, AI is going to have a major impact on all your marketing avenues. And by the way, it's coming to direct mail too. We're doing some testing right now where you can get probabilities on people actually responding to mail, how much junk mail they get, all sorts of stuff. And it's a score, and you can get rid of the bottom 10% of your list. It's in the beginning phases, but it's only going to get more robust. And remember, direct mail is legal, and that's why most people like it. So AI, honestly, is really, it's going to blow PPC open. So the experts at PPC are going to have to switch over and be experts at AI. And there's a huge learning curve with that. And there's a big fight for the AI right now between all these different platforms, between Elon and Microsoft and Apple. And I can tell you this, you do not want to find your own AI company because you have to compete with hundreds of billions of dollars. I just find it ironic. Now, you can be an AI expert, but please don't try to create your own AI. You're wasting your, it's moving so fast, it changes every week. And I'm in shock with some of the data I get. But right now, I research everything through AI. Why do I want to go to 36 different websites if I can get it in one shot and they can give me graphs and everything? And this is going to change how PPC goes. So if you're investing in these PPC companies, especially PPL, it's all going to reset again. So you're not getting ahead of the curve. If you're getting success with PPL, PPC, just keep doing it. You're the exception, not the rule. I would love to talk to you in detail and find out your data, like your real data, if you're going to do that. So guys, as I told you earlier, do you see the opportunity or the limitations in wholesaling? I see everything as an absolute opportunity. And if you just do me this advice, I've given you enough to find trends. What I want you to do is go find the trends in your local market. All real estate's local. That's why billion-dollar companies do not take over real estate, especially wholesaling, because you can't. You'd have to have too many boots on the ground. So there are limits. Yes. Are they passing legislation to make it harder to wholesale? Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that. But for the most part, most of the country, you are wide open. 95% of the country, you're wide open. So you're going to have to do research if you're in like Illinois, kind of West Virginia, maybe North Carolina. We'll see if that passes. And to be honest with you, past those states, which I know there's a few more, most of them go after little nuances of marketing and stuff like that. And it's so easy. Like everybody freaked out with the Tennessee law. In Tennessee, I thought it was the greatest written wholesale legislation of all time. They made wholesaling legal. They just said you have to disclose it. One fix on the contract, done. They're done. They don't have to deal with it. You are green lighted in Tennessee. But there's videos that come out basically saying wholesaling's banned. You can't do this. If you want to be scared, watch the media and watch influencers that want to scare you. I'm all about anybody who makes this business better. Here's the reality. We're a niche business. I'm not an idiot. If I thought putting something together to hire lobbyists, but like the cost of lobbyist stuff, I think the money's better spent with a lawyer. And then whoever puts the money in, say you get 10 people, maybe influencers or not, then you get a board of, say, 7. And then if someone gets tried, we look at their contract, we look at their paperwork, we have an attorney review it, and we get an affidavit from the homeowner that they did everything right. And that, let's just go to town, take that case law and shove it in everyone's face. That's how you do damage. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I think outside, if you're going to go the traditional route and stuff like, I just think it's like, if it actually, I'm fine if they do that, if anyone does it. But like, how long is it going to last? How do you keep the momentum going with it? How do you not like just eat money up on just like BS salaries? And those monies tend to dwindle. I want to put the money and put it in like a legal fund. We put it in a money market, get 4.25. And then when it comes, we have an agenda when we do it and we review. But anybody who's like breaking laws or like doing stupid stuff, you don't get the defense. I'm not going to represent bad people in the business. So if you've done everything right, I want to help you out. But I can't do it alone. Like I can't take on that much of a risk. But if somebody wants to reach out to me, you got my number, you know the right people. Say, Rick's all about like legal help, but it's like a legal wholesale hotline help. And the idea is we represent the right person. Now, here's the good news. No one's been attacked. So like if you're worried about fear and you're always worried about something that might possibly happen in the future, life's already rough to begin with. It's going to be hard. So go out and either you look at the open possibilities you have in wholesaling, which is all I see. I see, there's a couple of roadblocks, just jump over them. But if you want to obsess and debate and just live streams about how tough this is and stuff like that, you're just part of you're just whining. So let's just try to find the silver lining and fix it. Am I going to be able to stop all these? I don't think so. We're in a very niche market. Do you really think I can stop them? The only way to stop them is meet with your local and state representatives now. Once they start introducing it's too, in my opinion, you're already late to the show. And we've been late for a long time. I agree with it. But how do you organize when you have such a small community? And that's the challenging part of it. So for the record, I support anyone who's going to make this business better, but please don't push back regulation that's just busy paperwork. I think we go out and beat someone. I don't want to play with them. I want to beat them. And the only way you do that is with a lawyer. But my opinion, it stops with me. That's just my opinion. So don't go out and say, so-and-so I just think it's to me a more efficient use of money. So us entrepreneurs have to make our dollars stretch as far as they can, especially in marketing, and it's no different. So let me answer a couple of quick questions. And let me see this here. There's a lot of questions always. So this is a good one. I have a feeling we're all going to regret embracing AI. Listen, AI, I'm going to be honest with you, it is one of my biggest concerns right now in the world. It's scary. I mean, my car drives itself now. So much stuff's done automatically for me. And if we go to the next level in this, you guys know we're already having a issue in the United States with population dwindling because people are making less and less babies. And if we start having like AI, like girlfriends and wives and stuff, like we could be replaced really quick. That one scares the hell out of me. Like, I mean, honestly, it really like he hit that right on the on the button. So by the way, Brandon, these two things still work. You just got to comply with the laws, but direct mail works. Branded signs work. You just got to be careful. So just go through the course. Go through the course. It's not complicated, and focus on the marketing section. So I agree, Mark. AI is a double-edged sword. So the problem is there's the good in it, and there's some serious bad in it. Like, just think about all the jobs it's going to replace. Like, I'm all about replacing some of the low-end jobs, but like, guys, some of the high-end jobs, like, do I really need a realtor? Like, I've never really needed a realtor, but like, it's realtors' jobs. They're just professional salespeople when it comes to, you basically got to convince something to buy something they don't really need. There, I said it. That was bad, wasn't it? And there was a couple other questions I had. So I'm look at your question. It says, I need help from Exley. It's been more than a week and still no A2P. I email every day and answer. So if you want to put in the private chat and give me a screenshot of your email and the date, I'll look it up. I look at the tickets every day. And just understand, A2P we do as a courtesy. It's not our A2P. We don't require it. It is a carrier thing. So if you want to give me a screenshot and show it to me, I'd love to see it, because I look at every ticket that comes through. Now, if you need to get an appointment set up and have them walk you through it, you've got to put in the right stuff. So in the private chat, if you want to send it to me, I'll see it. I have an entire staff here. I oversee them. I'm just telling you, they are basically, their bonuses are based on how efficiently they solve problems and what our retention rate is. Are we perfect? No. But if you're not, let me try to help you out and see what we're missing on that one. Let's see here. Well, I kind of went on a rant. that's I think you guys kind of get the point with it, but like, I want you to understand where we're now. I'm going to wrap it up with my personal opinion. I think we have very good times coming in real estate. I think 2025 is one of the best years. When those interest rates starts to drop and these tariffs settle, I believe we're going to see a huge uptick in real estate. Now, here's the good news. Mortgage applications are almost at their lowest. Interest rates are stuck and stagnant, and we're waiting for the Fed to drop it. But the problem is everything seems to be contingent on these tariffs. So I think we got another 90 days of this muddling around. So please look in your market and understand all real estate's local. And if you do wholesaling correct, you really minimize your risk and maximize your reward. If you want to speculate, this is a tough time to do it. But how does our recession go from 70% to 30% based on one tiny move? I don't believe any of those numbers, and nor should you. Focus on the opportunity in wholesaling. Anyone who wants to shoot videos and tell you about the limitations, just understand that's the mindset, and just decide who you want to spend your time with. Do you want to spend on time people that want to expand and help you, or you want to have people tell you there's only one way to do it? If you don't do it my way, even though I did it the complete opposite way, then you're going to go to jail. Then you got to make a decision. It's up to you. So guys, go back, replay this video. It's important. I've done a really good summary. And once again, it's my opinion. But like, guys, listen, I got 23 years. I've seen a lot of cycles go through this market. The worst coaching wave I've ever seen was from 2013 to 2021. Some of the worst information I've ever seen in my life in wholesaling. And it's all coming back tenfold, because a lot of these people have all switched. And a lot of like influencers, coaches, when they don't make it work in wholesaling, they switch, they become consultants. Then they teach you how to do wholesaling, even though they don't do it. And then they become like the coach of the coaches. And it's just a cycle you see over and over again. So if you're in wholesaling like a marathon like me, check us out, freewholesaling.com. And guys, listen, if you got value from the day, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. The best compliment you can do to me. I'll be on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Check us out. Got a really cool topic. I think you guys will like it. So guys, take this information and use it. I'm giving you the truth. It is my opinion, And I also gave you a little bit on the local market, my market. I need you guys to do the same. Guys, go out and get it. I love every one of you. I will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Flip with Rick.